to another edition of the Stafford Report. Today we are in the kitchen at Peg TV, a beautiful kitchen. If you haven't ever been in to do a cooking show here, I strongly recommend it. We are going to be making the Dollhouse Restaurant's signature dessert, Creme Bruleé. Today I have with me two culinary students.
Hi, I'm Bren, and I'm a second year.
We're going great. And Christine. Christine's got a bit of laryngitis today. Christine is a sophomore from Fairhaven, and Brennan is a senior from Otter Valley. So they are going to be handling the cooking. I am going to be kind of helping them along and making sure that we don't have too many awkward pauses. But our creme brulee today, we're making a half batch, and our ingredients are, Brennan?
So today we have, I'm pretty sure we have 5 eggs. We have a 1/4 of a cup of sugar, a 1/4 of a cup of packed brown sugar, 2 cups of heavy cream, and we have, it is a 1½ teaspoons of vanilla, and then we have our fine mesh strainer right here, and then we also have the liquid measuring cup for when we put the actual custard through the strainer.
And their chef instructor said that I should point out we're using a fine mesh strainer because we have one available. A regular strainer works as well. We'll talk about the reasons that we want to strain this custard after it's cooked. So we're starting with the 2 cups of heavy cream, and we're going to heat that slowly, I believe.
Yes, you're going to want to slowly bring this to a boil, and it's really important to remember to not walk away from the pot while it is cooking, because you don't want it to overflow and bubble all over the place and burn, because that won't smell very good. And it's also important to remember that you want to use a heavy bottom saucepan for a recipe like this, as it cooks a lot differently than a regular saucepan. And you are also going to want to use a thick whisk when mixing in the heavy cream when it's hot into the egg yolks, because you want to introduce less air rather than more air. You want to use a thin whisk for whipped cream, thick whisk for a custard.
And a custard is not supposed to be light and airy like whipped cream or like a mousse. This is a dense, thick, heavy dessert that is also delicious, and I'm super excited about this. Christine is separating the eggs because we are only using the egg yolks in this recipe. Here she's using her fingers, which is how many chefs do it. That's how our chef instructor prefers to do it. Some people at home may have an egg separator or may use the shell. You can actually break the shell into 2 pieces and kind of pour the yolk back and forth, which Christine's demonstrating now. Chef prefers to use his hands. He says he can get more of the egg white out that way. But we are showing you both ways. And we will be taking the egg whites back to school and using them for something else. We don't like to waste anything. Brennan, can you talk a little bit about what does creme brulee actually mean?
So one of the special things about creme brulee is it is considered a French dessert / custard, as you would, say. And creme brulee stands for burnt cream, brulee being the burnt part, and then creme being the cream part. And that's one of the cool things about that, is that that's, what creme brulee stands for. And it is a French dessert / custard. But yeah.
And today we're making vanilla, but
yes,
there are other flavors.
Oh yeah, you can incorporate anything you want into a creme brulee dessert. You can, use maple syrup if you wanted. You could even add pumpkin puree, but you have to make sure that you balance out other ingredients if you want to incorporate something that, you wouldn't regularly see inside of a standard, custard that is, creme brulee, because one imbalance could lead it to not turning out and forming properly in the oven when it's cooking.
Okay. So as the cream comes to temperature,
a light boil, as you would say,
and
you're looking for.
We're going to temper this liquid when we add our eggs, because what would happen if we just threw our eggs in?
So when you think about it, tempering is, you're adding a hot liquid to a cold liquid or vice versa, and it's really important you don't want to, make scrambled eggs, because, when you cook eggs, you need a lot of heat, and when this is boiling, that gets pretty hot, and it's not something that you want to eat or enjoy, and a dessert that, there's not a lot of, and you don't want to eat a lot of, scrambled egg. When you're not looking for that, you're looking for a nice light / dense vanilla custard that is topped with a burnt sugar. That is the key here that you want to make sure you don't have is scrambled eggs.
So we're starting to get a little bit of bubbles around the edge. Milk products are notorious for boiling over if you don't watch them.
Yes.
Not that that would ever happen with my experienced chefs here.
Oh, no, you don't have to, you don't got to worry about that here.
So,
Yeah, you're good.
so Christine's putting the cane sugar, regular white sugar, granulated, and the half, is it a half or a quarter cup of packed brown sugar?
It's 2 1/4 cups.
So a total of half cup sugar.
Yes, half a cup of sugar total.
Half brown and half white sugar. And she's adding that into the bowl with the egg yolk. And she is gonna, we don't wanna add that sugar too soon because the sugar will draw the water out of the egg yolks, and then you could have crystallization and things that we're not looking for in the texture of this dessert. So they're working as a team here, which I love, and that's one of the things that our students learn at Stafford is working as a team.
Yes, and right now what me and Christine are doing is we're working together to try and make sure that we can make both of this, happen at the same time. You don't want to whisk in the sugar into the egg yolks too soon, as sugar is it likes to draw in moisture. You can think of it as, salt and sugar are like yin and yang. Salt likes to take it away and draw it away, as sugar likes to attract it. So you want to make sure you're, about halfway there with the cream when it comes to a boil, before you start adding in sugar into the yolks, because you don't want it to get too watery. But yeah, and we are slowly getting to a boil here. And then soon I am going to slowly start adding in the hot heavy cream with this ladle into the yolk mixture with the vanilla and the sugar.
So creme brulee is a kind of a showcase dessert. You can impress your friends, maybe make it for the holidays. If you've never tried it before, it is definitely attainable in a regular kitchen. We're not doing anything super fancy here. It's just knowing the recipe, reading it through, understanding the steps, and this demonstration hopefully will inspire you to try it at home. So we've got that cream is at a nice boil right now.
And right now I'm gonna slowly, make sure if you aren't very aware, make sure that you don't wanna burn yourself either when you're doing this, because the bowl's gonna get hot and so is this handle. But I'm holding it because at the moment I do not have an oven mitt, but that is totally okay. You just gotta make sure that it's not too hot when you are holding it. And I'm gonna slowly start adding in the hot heavy cream into here. Oh no, it's okay, perfect. And Miss Dunnigan, my savior, actually found me an oven mitt.
I don't want anybody getting hurt. So you're drizzling in that hot cream, and
Yes.
there's nothing else in the cream, but we're mixing it into the egg yolk, the 2 sugars, and the vanilla. And this is a process called tempering, where we're trying to get an equal temperature between that egg mixture and the cream mixture. So again, when we add them both together, we don't get scrambled eggs in our custard base. So making custards is something that people do also when they're making ice cream. Sometimes you start with a cooked custard base. Puddings. It smells so good in here right now. I don't know. It's the vanilla, I think. So they're, again, working as a team. Not that you can't do this by yourself, but there are 2 of them here, and Christine
You can, of
was...
course, do this by yourself. If you really want to do this at home, you could.
Yeah, and Christine was saying that she has made so many creme brulees already this year. I think Chef has realized that she has a knack for it, that she doesn't let it curdle, and that her creme brulee comes out quite delicious. And this is not the final step. So when we're done with this, when all of this is mixed, the custard base will go into, we're using ramekins, and at home you may have some ramekins, you may have some other oven-proof container, small container that you're going to make your creme brulee in. We will be, when we cook these, we do them in a water bath, which sounds really technical. All it means is they're going to be on a tray, and when we put them in the oven, we're going to add water to the tray, which is going to help them cook evenly. Creme brulee in the oven is goes in at 350 degrees. Chef told me this morning that it cooks for about, he has it at a half an hour, he checks it, he rotates. Lots of ovens have a hot spot in one area or another, so he will rotate his tray carefully because again, you're gonna have some hot water in that tray. And check it again in 15 minutes. And it's hard to say, your oven, his commercial oven is very well calibrated, and he says it's about 45 minutes. Chef Lynch is the chef instructor at Stafford who is instructing these two in their culinary journeys. Brennan is graduating in June, and
Thankfully, I'm very excited to go to college.
He's looking at a lot of different colleges and a lot of different opportunities. We were talking this morning about food scientist. He's really interested in the science and the chemistry side of food prep. And Christine has a lot of different interests, and she's trying to find a way to bring them all together. And her eventual goal is to have and train horses. So she, maybe she'll be mixing up some horse feed too. But she has been phenomenal in the kitchen. And although she's looking at other opportunities for next year at Stafford, we're so excited that she still wants to be at Stafford. So Brennan, as you're doing that, as a second year student, what's one of your favorite things about doing your high school at Stafford?
I really enjoy the hands-on learning, and that's one of the big things and one of the most important things that I love to talk about the most is the amount of hands-on just learning. That's all that I go on and on and on about. And it's a great opportunity to, be around different people and different environments and to do stuff like this and, be able to show people and demonstrate to people how to make a creme brulee, which is something that some people, may not understand or, know the full process of making, but they think it's an amazing dessert and they've always wanted to make it themselves. There's a lot of different things when it comes to why I like to be here, but one of the big things is my hands-on learning and not having to,
sit at a desk all day.
Yeah, exactly. And being able to, learn a lot. And what Christine just did right now is put this through the fine mesh strainer to ensure that we don't, have any hard clumps of, brown sugar or the molasses or any scrambled eggs and foam or extra foam and stuff like that.
And she did a really nice job. All we're seeing in this strainer right now is just some foam. One of the keys to a nice creme brulee is we're looking for a glassy finish on the top. So Christine's going to fill these ramekins about half full or fuller, probably 3/4, I'm guessing. So right now there is a little foam on the top of these, and we are going to take some steps to make these smooth before they go into the oven.
Let me use the blowtorch for that.
It smells so good in here right now. That vanilla just smells delicious.
Wait, where's the actual?
It's over here.
I have it back here, Brennan.
Would you like to do it, Christine?
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right.
So before these go in the oven, we're actually going to hit them with the blowtorch, and many of you are probably waiting for the point where we fire our creme brulee. This is not the actual firing that caramelizes the sugar on top.
And what we're doing here is we're killing off all the air bubbles with, the fire, and that's what you're doing here. I hit that. Hit that one more time. Yeah, just perfect, and then that one more time. Okay.
So we're not looking for any color here. We're just looking to get rid of those air bubbles on the top. Again, we're looking for a smooth, glassy finish. So the next step would be...
We're going to pop these into the oven, and then we are going to bake them for we do it for about 20 minutes, and we rotate them, and then we want to make sure that they're cooked fully, and then we will take them out of the oven.
So cooked fully, we're going to take the pan, and we're just going to kind of jiggle it. We don't want it to move.
No, we do not.
Yep, we're going to add the water once we get the pan in the oven. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get out of the way. So this is probably one of the trickier things, is this adding the water to the pan.
I'm gonna put this on the bottom track so that it's easier for Christine to...
And we can pull that out. That happens. So we're going to add some water. We don't need to go all the way to the rim of these ramekins. We're just coming up over the bottoms a little bit to the side. And remember, at some point you're going to have to remove this after it's baked, and it's going to be full of hot water. So again, this gives the creme brulee a nice even heating. So those would go in the oven, and we'd check on them in 20 to 30 minutes. Rotate them, and then give them another, in a home oven, maybe another 20 minutes, check them at 15. We're just looking for that nice set custard look.
Yes. And right now, as those are cooking, we actually brought some that are already prepared to show you what you would do if you were to pull them out of the oven, let them cool, make sure they're cooked perfectly, or however you would want your custard to be. You can do whatever you'd like. And we're going to unwrap these. And right now we have a mixture of brown sugar and normal sugar. Everyone has their own preference. You can do whatever you would like for the top, but our Chef Lynch found that this is one of the best combinations he would like to use for when he puts it on the top of his creme brulee.
Another thing that Chef Lynch does with his sugar is he mixes, he told me it was 2 to 1 granulated sugar to brown sugar, and he spreads it out on a tray and puts it on top of the oven to kind of dry it out a little before he uses it as a topping. So Christine and Brennan are getting the sugar evenly spread over the top. I will say a few years ago, the students were curious what made the best topping. So they had a bunch of creme brulee they had baked up that were left over, and we did some with pure white granulated sugar, some with all brown sugar, some with natural cane sugar, and in a straight one kind of sugar, the regular white sugar did work best.
I'll burn mine and you burn yours.
So the process here is Christine's going to fire the torch, and she's going to melt that sugar with the torch, and she's looking for a nice even brown. And remember, the name does mean burnt, so she is trying to get a little color on here as she melts that sugar. And it's just sizzling.
And then I'm going to go in with mine, and I'm going to do mine.
So this does take a little bit. One time the Rutland City Fire Department had come in for lunch to the dollhouse, and they ordered creme brulee for dessert. So we actually fired them at the table because they were firemen, so they got a kick out of that. Generally, we fire them in the kitchen. Oh, and it's just bubbling up. It looks amazing.
Sorry, I had to make sure I didn't get any papers burned. I wanted to make sure that's one of the most important things too.
So when we do this, Brennan, tell me, we do this after the custard has cooled from the oven, so it's been refrigerated. So this is a dessert, although it's easy to make. You do need to plan ahead, because when it comes out of the oven, it then needs to go in the fridge and chill. And then you're going to do your sugar and get your torch. If you don't have a torch, you don't have a kitchen torch, I don't have a kitchen torch, you can do this under the broiler. You just need to be careful and watch it so you don't totally burn it, because that's not the goal. And the perfect creme brulee, when your spoon goes through that sugar on the top, there's like a crack. And we are going to give this a taste, because after all of that work, we do want to know how delicious it is. So Brennan's tapping his with the spoon.
Mine isn't as settled.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna take a taste. I'm gonna take a taste of this. I'm very excited. And the warm top and the cold underneath is such a nice mix in your mouth. That is delicious. Those of you at home, wish you were here right now. That is so good. You get a little bit of crunch from that caramelized sugar on the top. It's just beyond caramelization, so it's almost like a thin, hard candy on top. It's so good. So some of the tips about making creme brulee is separating your eggs, bringing your cream up to heat. Don't add your sugar into your egg yolks too soon. Wait until your cream is about halfway to where it wants to be. I'm going to use some sort of a strainer. A regular strainer is fine, just in case you do have any granulated sugar lumps in your custard. When you put it in the oven, you're going to do that in a water bath. Be very careful removing that from the oven. Any tips on that, Brennan?
You want to just be very slow, and you don't want to move around too much. You know, be as slow as possible when you're pulling it out of the oven. I mean, other than that, I mean, if you're really worried about burning yourself, maybe wear some extra clothing.
Could you let it sit in the oven with the door open?
You for sure could let it sit in the oven.
So that it's not quite as hot.
Exactly. But also, when you think about that, the water is still going to cook the custard, so you might want to take them out somehow. Maybe when you're pulling them out, maybe put like on a jacket or something.
And how do you cool them? Do you take them out of that water?
You take them out of the water, and you can just put them on your counter, put them on like a towel or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have another bite. This is so good. This is the only reason I brought them, so I could eat creme brulee. I'm kidding. It's so good. If you like a nice creamy, very simple dessert, it's just a strong flavor of vanilla and sugar. It's so tasty. It looks fancy. And again, if you don't have a torch, you can do that in the broiler. And had you ever made creme brulee before you came to Stafford?
Before I came to Stafford, no, but I've always loved to try it. There's a bakery in Brandon that I go to called Gourmet Provence, and well, now it's not Gourmet Provence, but at the time it was, and they always had creme brulee there, and it was one of my favorites. It's pretty good.
And Christine, have you ever made it at home or just at school?
Just at school.
Yeah. So that's what we have today. Again, we have Brennan from Otter Valley and Christine from Fairhaven.
Second year too, not a first year.
And we were a little nervous at the beginning, but that's all fine. It came out great. We are actually going to let our PEG TV host have a little bite of this other creme brulee if she would like to. And we thank you so much for joining us and learning a little bit about creme brulee, and maybe you'll be making it for the holidays at your house. Thank you for joining us.